Right, so the enforcer, do you want to do the welcome to the second segment for us, please?
Okay. Well, welcome to the second segment of the Football Referee. I am Tony the Enforcer, and we have Emmy.
Yeah, and I'm Emmy Hickins, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
Yeah, he calls me cuz.
We always get it wrong, don't we?
Yeah, I know, yeah. So, to start us off with the second segment, let's look at England. So, um, let's look at, do we have the selection for England? Do we know who's in the team? Do we know
Yes,
who's
we do.
in? Yes,
We do.
yes. Harry Kane,
He's in there, yes.
yeah. Declan Rice,
Mm,
is he
yeah,
in?
I mean,
All
why
right,
not?
Yep.
yeah.
As
Okay,
if he wouldn't be.
all right. So let's look at the ones that is left out. Let's look at the ones that is left out. So we'll start from the ones that is left out. Um, Morgan, what's his first name or last name? Aston Villa.
Gibbs White. Gibbs White.
Yeah.
Okay, Gibbs White of Nottingham City.
Nottingham
Is that
Forest.
Nottingham Forest? Nottingham City. Nottingham Forest. Yeah. Gibbs White. I'm not. Hmm. What do we know about Gibbs White? Gibbs White?
I mean, he's
He's a
very
very good footballer. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. And of course, everyone's going to have different opinions on team selection, and it's
Hmm.
the manager's choice. But in the case of Gibbs White, he's had a pretty good season. In recent weeks, he scored a couple of fabulous goals as well from outside the penalty area.
Hmm.
And he's a class player. So again, we're going to get into that area, I guess, of what influences an international manager
Hmm.
to choose the players he chooses. And at the end of the day, he may say what his thought process is, or he may not. But certainly Gibbs White was one that surprised me, his absence. Yeah.
Okay. What about Ollie Watkins? Is selected Ollie Watkins? He's included in it. Ollie Watkins.
yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
I thought I saw that. Now, the person that I was thinking about was the the player that plays with Holly Watkins or plays in place of Holly Watkins sometimes. I think it's
Rogers. Yeah.
Morgan
Yeah.
Rogers. That's it.
He is in.
Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
Is he in? He's
Yeah,
not in.
he is in midfield. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's a
Wow.
good player.
That's
Good player.
yeah, wow. I thought he left him out. All right, so let's talk about Cole Palmer. I'm really, really disappointed. I let Cole Palmer out. I love Palmer. Come on. The guy is a good player. I mean, Chelsea's not had a good season by any length, but Cole Palmer, what do we think of Cole Palmer, bro?
Well, I used to be more of a fan of him than I am now, to be honest.
Oh,
I don't think he's had a good season.
no.
It's interesting some of the things that Thomas Tuchel did say, and in Cole Palmer's case, he said, "Yeah, he's a good player. He always well, he did say actually he cried off injured a few times from the squad, which obviously doesn't impress a manager, particularly if he senses it may not be the whole truth. I don't know whether that's the case in Palmer's case. I don't think it is,
Mm,
but it's interesting to hear what he said. He said when he comes along, he said, but he doesn't. He trains well, but he doesn't really get too. I think he said doesn't get too involved in the vibe in the group, which may or may not be an unfair thing to say. We'll never know. But I I don't like to criticise. I mean, as fans, we pay to criticise players. I do sometimes get the impression with Cole Palmer, good player though he is and has been, that he kind of almost like he sulks a bit if it's not going his way.
mm,
He's almost a bit of an island. It's an island, not really gelling too much with people around him. He's a bit of an individual. And I think the thing now with international managers and all managers, they focus on their perception of the team. It's the team that wins tournaments and trophies rather than the individuals that comprise it. And I think, as we've seen with managers before, they often shy away a bit from players who are a bit individualistic. I mean, play almost for themselves, even though they can be great footballers. And Tuchel himself said that the ones he selected are not necessarily the best players in the country. He wants
mm,
the team to be focused on. So I can understand anyone's disappointment that Palmer's not there and a bit of surprise. And maybe this will prove to be a benefit for England if it works out, and we should have the heady delight of winning this trophy. That probably only a foreign manager for England would be quite prepared not to pick those players who a domestic manager, an English manager, would almost feel compelled to pick because the press is on his back, and the pundits, oh, he must be picked. And probably Palmer may have come into that category. Oh, you can't leave him out, you can't leave Gibbs White out. So in a way,
mm,
the team is picked by someone other, but you get a foreign manager in, and as I say, if he wins the trophy, his approach here will be proved to be excellent. That he's not concerned what the media think or what the pundits think or what anybody else thinks. He's doing
mm.
what he perceives could win us the trophy. So yeah, I'm not really surprised in Cole Palmer's case that he's not been picked, because he's, as I say, he's a bit of an individual island in the stream sort of thing.
Mm, mm. Um, the enforcer?
I mean, if I go on about all the players he's picked over the players I should have taken, this could be for ages.
Mm.
How he's left out Harry Maguire, I'll never understand that. I don't understand it.
Okay, okay.
Um, he brought in Henderson over Harry Maguire, and then on top of
Right.
that, even brought in Ivan Toney from Saudi. He brought him as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
There's so many players that he's left out, and I mean, even what was it now? Looking at it, Dan Burn. Fairs, he's good. I think he would have been good with Harry Maguire, but Jed
Mm,
Spence from Tottenham, really?
mm,
And Tottenham's in what, 16th, 17th,
mm,
wherever it is.
mm,
That's not really showing me that he's a good defender. If anything, honestly, looking at this team, I really don't think that you're going to do well, in my
mm,
opinion, because you're
mm,
going against Croatia. Your
mm,
first match is against us.
mm,
And I'll be honest, I feel like Modric is going to walk through this midfield. In my opinion, it's really not that well. Jude Bellingham has been on and off for Real Madrid. He hasn't
mm,
really been himself. Like Jordan Henderson for Brentford, uh, Cobby's been really well, and so has Morgan Rogers and Declan Rice for most of it. But I really don't see this squad going far.
no.
I really don't.
Mm,
Like I said, your defense wise is okay.
mm,
Livramento, I don't know really much about him. In
mm.
my opinion, I feel like he should be playing for Ukraine at this rate. With that, uh,
Okay.
but yeah, it's like I said, I could go on and on. I know we try to keep this as much as we can on
Yeah,
as much
yeah.
as
Okay.
possible,
Yeah,
but
okay.
yeah, like I said, I really don't see this squad going. I could be wrong. At the end, like I said, it's not always what stats and players that
Mm.
he has on a sheet. Football is
Mm,
completely different.
mm,
But like in my opinion, I don't see it going far.
mm. All right, so let's look at Ivan Toney, because that was a surprise inclusion for everybody. Even I'm sure Ivan Toney himself would be surprised. I'm picked. Me? What's going through his mind? What are the factors that he's looking at to go for Ivan Toney? What
Yeah, I
could?
mean, he's been out in Saudi, hasn't he? Which is not
Yeah.
exactly the best standard of league. And I
No.
think he's played literally a few minutes in an earlier game under Tuchel. So he obviously knows his good scoring reputation. But
Mm,
yeah, I agree that that is a bit of a surprise. And I agree as well with Tony that Jordan Henderson, nothing against the guy. In his
mm,
day, he was a good footballer at Liverpool, quite a good captain.
mm,
But I do think he's one of yesterday's players. And maybe some have said maybe he's been brought into the team to be because he's good in the dressing room. But then,
Mm,
do we, do the team need, you know, boosting up in the dressing room in a World Cup? I mean, they should be up there anyway in terms of motivation.
mm,
So I'm surprised Jordan Henderson is there. I'm not sure whether he's in place of Harry Maguire. Harry
mm,
Maguire for me is a bit one way or the other because first of all, I think he's got 67 England caps, which
mm,
is obviously a very good record. But he hasn't featured so much in recent tournaments, and in
mm,
one sense, I don't mean any disrespect, but I feel he is a bit like Henderson, a bit of yesterday's player. Now, okay, he's turned things around under Carrick. He's been picked again because before that, Anarim, I don't think fancied him, didn't rate him. But he,
mm,
he has picked up a lot, and let's face it, he's had some good performances. But
mm,
I think in the meantime, from his 67 caps, other central defenders have come through. There's Concert, there's Mark Gay. So he may, even if he was there, he probably wouldn't necessarily have started the games. But another factor there is, and I think Tuchel does take into account a lot of things, like I said about Palmer, the fact that he's a bit morose, a little bit inside himself, I think that matters to Tuchel.
mm,
And in the case of Harry Maguire, you will know 2 or 3 years ago or more, I don't know. He was it Ibiza, and he got into an altercation with somebody, a bouncer or something. Anyway,
mm,
a couple of months ago, I think after appeals, he was convicted in his absence. And he got a suspended sentence for this. Now, I don't know whether his lawyer's going to put another appeal in against. He can't. He can't. I don't think he can appeal the decision of guilt, but he can appeal the consequence, whatever. But the
mm,
point is, he's got a criminal conviction now.
mm,
And anyone, I mean, I've been to the States quite a few times, and anyone who's been there knows you have to get what they call an ESTA to be allowed in. And
mm,
in 95% of cases or more, if you've got a criminal conviction, they won't allow you in. It's even for
mm.
a professional international footballer. So I think that, or I wonder if that is in Tuchel's mind, that by picking him, that he could end up not being able to go anyway. Now, you think in times past, the powers that be would organise it on the QT and they'd be allowed. But I don't think America's that open
Mm.
to breaking its own situation. So that could be also in Tuchel's mind on that. But yeah, I do agree with you about Henderson. I agree about Tony. We all like the fact that he scored a load of goals,
Mm.
but and he was good at that. But he's not really ensconced with an England team, is he? So probably he'll come on as a bit part player at best.
Mm.
So I think, as we've said, we can all look at the selections and everyone will have opinions. That's what football is about. But I think there's probably some commonality of surprise in some players. I mean, just to finally for me, I was disappointed for Adam Walton because he's been picked for the last couple of get-togethers, and he's a good player. I mean, I think he's by no means the finished article yet. I mean, he
Mm.
scored his first goal a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
Mm.
and that's been lacking in his game. You expect an international midfielder to score a few goals, like Bruno Fernandes and others. And I think now he's broken the ice, he will do it. And he always said that when he scores, he'll do his backflip he used to
Chocolate.
do at
Yeah.
Blackburn. And of course, he did a very good backflip when he scored the goal. But I think that's gone against him, that he doesn't score more goals. I think he's got to change that. And also, he's a very astute player who knows where his teammates are. So he's very often one touch, and
Mm.
generally it will go to our player, even if he's not always looking at them. Occasionally it goes wrong and he gives the ball away. Um, so I'd like to see him occasionally put his foot on the ball as a good midfielder, which is what he is. He puts some beautiful through passes through time and again. He knows how to do that. But I'd like to see him sometimes think, where's the best, most effective thing? He's very quick, and I think he's got a future with England. So I can kind of understand why he's not on the plane this time.
Mm.
It's a shame for him because I would imagine he was expecting to be. But anyway, so yeah, as I say, we'll all have different views. Probably most of us. I mean, just the last one who I was a bit surprised about was it Lee Colwell from Chelsea. He's had
Oh
three
yeah.
games
Okay.
this season. I mean,
Mm.
I'm not even sure, to be honest. I'm not even sure I'd heard of him. I think he might have had an ACL injury
Mm.
during the season, and
Mm.
he may be brilliant. But I mean, most fans probably don't know what he's like as a player. So
Mm.
yeah, a few surprises. As I say, I hope that being a foreign manager who can do his own thing,
Mm.
I hope it works because I think Tuchel does have a good reputation
Mm.
amongst football and the elite of football, the Premier League, the FA, as a damn good manager. So let's hope they're correct.
Mm. Also that works. Now, I believe we still got a friendly in hand to play. When is that coming up? Do you know, bruv?
I think we
We still have
have.
a,
I'm not sure when it is.
I'm not sure when it is either. But the reason why I mentioned it is because they were talking about Rio Ngonoma, Ngomoa of Liverpool. They said he named him and he's friendly. Now, do we think he's going any further than that?
But the only thing is, I mean, if there is a friendly, I'm not sure there is. It might be, but the
Yeah,
World Cup starts on I believe it's the 11th of June,
of June.
I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
which is what? That's like 2 weeks
Mm.
tomorrow, isn't it? So is there
yeah,
time for a friendly? Perhaps there is. Perhaps they're
yeah,
going when they go to America, they'll have a friendly game just to kind of acclimatize a bit. So you're probably right. There probably
yeah,
is.
yeah. I just don't know. I just can't remember who it is against. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, so this is James Madison of uh, Spurs. He said, without De Zerbi coming in, there is a serious possibility we would have went down. He switched the mindset. The passion he shows every single game rubbed off on all the players. And I think you could see that in the last few performances. Now, okay, De Zerbi, good manager, good manager. Do we know enough to make a conclusion on De Zerbi?
Yeah, I
Spurs?
mean, he did really well at Brighton.
Yeah.
He more or less got him to stay up top 10 since, well, before even after he left, he brought in very good players like, what's his name now? Caicedo. He's in Chelsea now, and he made also, oh, what's his name from Liverpool? Alexis McAllister. Not Mac, yeah, is it McAllister? I'm sure. Well, the
Yeah,
Argentinian
McAllister.
player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from Brighton. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and they both came from him. They are the byproduct of him. So
Mm,
he can make good players himself and even make the club go far too. So I have to say, as a manager, he's very well.
mm,
He's helped Marseille as well multiple times
mm.
when he was there too. So yeah, I mean, to be fair to Madison, kind of true. If it wasn't for De Zerbi, I would have 100% thought they were going down. Before De
Yeah,
Zerbi came in, it was like a short done deal.
yeah.
But yeah, fair's to De Zerbi, he's turned him round.
Mm,
He helped him out, especially in the last game, just over a 1-0 win, just to keep him in. So yeah, fair's to
yeah.
him.
Well, bruv.
Yeah, I mean, I think he comes across when you see him interviewed as a very intense man, bursting, bubbling with enthusiasm and determination. As Tony said, he's one of those managers who you see he wears it all on his sleeve. It's out there, and that in itself, you just felt when he went to Tottenham that he was going to have an impact because
Mm,
he's not someone who's a bit laid back, and they didn't need someone like that. You could say, or you could wonder why, with all due respect, why did they go for someone like Igor Tudor? As I
mm,
say, no disrespect to the man, but
mm,
he had no experience of the Premier League. His tenure was a disaster and really confirmed their position as possible or likely relegation candidates.
mm,
You've got to wonder why that decision was made in the first place. They'd have been better off, I think, sticking with Thomas
mm,
Frank. But no, De Zerbi is okay, and as you say, as Tony said, he did a good job really at Brighton. They're a possession sort of team,
Mm,
and they had their bad spells, but generally he was very good for them. And I expect the mind would boggle at his contract, his keeping them up bonus. I mean, I read the other day that Nuno, when by going down with West Ham, he sacrificed a stay up bonus of £8 million. So again, you can only imagine with Spurs, a bigger club, probably a richer club, what they offered De Zerbi to keep them up. I mean, it's got to be in the double figure millions, isn't it? And
mm,
and in today's football, good luck to him. He's saved Tottenham a load of money by staying in the most lucrative league in the world. So
mm.
yeah, so I think he'll stay there, and well, he will stay there now, and I think he'll turn them round next season. He's not a manager, I think, who would in any way accept
Mm,
the kind of season they've just had, or the last two seasons. I think he's
mm.
too good for that. He's probably too demanding of his players, and if someone doesn't measure up, I should think they'll be out. I think
Mm,
he's a ruthless guy,
mm.
and that's what you've got to be in today's football management.
Yeah. Now the next one that we're going to go to is Marcus Rashford. Do we know if he's been called up for England?
Yeah,
Is he?
Yes, he has. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Now, Carrick, it must have been playing on Carrick's mind because he's on loan there. I'm not really sure if Barca wants him. Do we think it's time for, are we ready for a Marcus Rashford return to the Premier League?
Well, he doesn't
Manchester
want to come back himself. He doesn't want to come back.
does
He
he
wants to
not?
stay at Barca, but with Barca's finances isn't really ideal. They can't
Yeah,
even afford him. He's like 30 mil, but they can't afford him.
yeah.
Which is strange because I saw today that they want Anthony Gordon. He's 70 mil.
Mm,
So you want Rashford, you don't have the money for him, but you want Gordon, who is way more expensive and hasn't really had the best season this
Mm.
like last season. But you want
mm,
him more than Rashford.
mm.
Makes no sense. But yeah, like I said, Rashford doesn't really want to come back to Manchester United anyways. So
No,
and I mean, I think Carrick would take him back regardless. But I don't, in my opinion, with the fans, I don't think he'll work out because he didn't really leave the club in the best of terms.
mm,
So for him to come back, I don't think he will get like, well, he will get an applause for sure. I mean,
mm,
at the end of the day, he will get some sort of an applause, but
mm,
it wouldn't be like we're happy that to see you back. But it'll be more of like, you know, we know who you are reputation wise. But
mm,
like I said, I think it's probably best for him just to stay at Barca. But that,
mm.
at the end of the day, they don't really have the finances to keep him. So, uh, yeah, if they want to keep him, I would say pay the 30 mil. He wants to stay there, why not?
Mm,
But at the end of the day, you can't mess about with pricing because
mm,
there are other teams that do want him. Apparently,
mm.
Bayern want him as well, and they're willing to pay 50
Right,
mil for him.
okay.
And
Wow.
they're willing
Mm.
to pay 50 mil, 20 mil over the actual asking price of him.
Wow.
So I feel like if you know, if Carrick is willing to do it,
Mm,
pull that trigger because at the end of the day, we need that money for our rebuild in the midfield and in the defense and even in strike. So if I was him, I would do that. Because like I said, I don't think he wants to come back to Manchester United at all.
no.
There was like a little video at the end of the Real Betis game against Barca. Him and
Mm,
Anthony was talking, and apparently some lip reader was saying like he wants nothing to do with us anymore.
mm,
I don't know if that was 100% true. At the end of the day, you can't trust what every lip reader says.
mm,
So until you actually hear from them, so it's in my opinion, from his vibe, I'm getting that
mhm.
vibe. He literally does not want to come back, anyways. So
Yeah.
I would say just keep him, in Europe or wherever
Yeah.
he wants to go at that rate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Bruv.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised that he was selected in the England team. I feel like, again, I've mentioned a couple of players who I think were yesterday's players, and I think Rashford has done a job for England before, like he did for Manchester United. But
Mm,
I think he had a sticky exit from Man United, as Tony indicated.
mm,
And much of that, I believe, as an outsider, seems to have been of his own making. He got
Mm,
involved in well-intended matters outside of football, but I don't think footballers, with all that they're paid, I think their commitment needs to be to their club,
mm,
completely, and anything else is done in their own time and not brought into the public arena. Now, when he left, I mean, he was kind of. I think I got the feeling he stuck to his guns. He didn't want to compromise with what was
mm,
going on in the dispute, if you like, and off he went to Barcelona. Now, the fact that they say they can't afford him when they can afford Anthony Gordon is a bit of a contradiction. And
mm,
again, maybe he has not fully settled in the team as they would have wanted him to do. I don't know, but for me, if he has actually stated, and I believe he has, I've heard this has been said, he
mm,
doesn't want to come back not just to Man United but to the Premier League or to
mm,
England,
mm,
then I wouldn't want him coming to my team knowing he wouldn't want to be there. So I
mm,
think, yeah, I think it's in his own interest to stay where he is if they'll keep
mm,
him.
mm,
But whether he'll come on for England, I don't get the impression in recent games when I've seen him that he's lighting up. He's creating lots of chances and stuff. He's got the capability, of course he has. He's naturally a good footballer, although I don't know what his age is now. He's not in the first flush of youth by any means. But yeah,
mm,
I wouldn't have selected him in that. Nothing against him, as I say, he's a good footballer who I think got involved outside of his main role as a footballer. So yeah, I don't think I would want him back with my team because I know he didn't want to be here.
mm. Well, you wouldn't even want him back in the England squad, would you?
Well, no, well, exactly the
Yeah,
same kind of
yeah,
thing almost. Yeah, it's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. Now there's a tussle over, as we would presume, because West Ham's gone down, and we have this brilliant player called Jared Bowen. Now is it's been approached by both Manchester rumors. It's a rumors, not confirmed. But there are rumors that it's been approached by Liverpool and Manchester United. If you was Jared Bowen, where would you be going? I'll start with you, the enforcer. Where would you be going?
I would, in my opinion, if I was him, I would look at it, where am I needed most?
Okay.
So realistically, Liverpool have a lot of strikers. They've got Cody Gakpo, they've got Ekatike, they've got good wingers like Ryan Mowa and many other places. So in my opinion, I wouldn't really go to Liverpool because, like I
Mm,
said, they've got the players. You would really more go to Manchester United because they are in the middle of a rebuild, and
mm,
if you really want to make a name of yourself, you could do it there at Man United
mm,
because at the moment Bruno's the main star player there.
mm,
So if you really want to make a name for yourself, do it at a big club like Man
mm,
United, because that way media loves us, especially when we're losing or doing something wrong. That way
mm,
you still get some sort of press, and then on top of that, you could do like oh, our right side is okay, but we could use a bit more reinforcements there.
mm.
So and he plays more on the right side anyways. So I feel like he could fit in, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like it's down to West Ham if he leaves or not. Because I feel like it's Danny Dyer at this rate because
Yeah,
he's with his daughter. So I feel like it's
yeah,
Danny Dyer that's really controlling him where to go at this rate.
Mm,
I
mm,
feel like he wants to leave. I feel like deep down he wants to leave, but
mm.
yeah, it depends if he wants to get on the bad side of Danny Dyer.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Bruv.
yeah. I mean, I think that's a factor actually. That his father-in-law is Danny Dyer, who is West Ham through and through,
Diehard.
and always has been. And I know sometimes you hear Danny Dyer talking about his one of his daughters, Danny, another Danny as it happens, married to, as he puts it, a Premier League footballer. Don't get much better than that, he said. And I think she's got a sister, at least one. And he said his other daughter, whoever she marries, it can't be a patch on Danny being married to a Premier. So I mean, he's obviously tongue in cheek, but but it means a lot to him. And I guess, they've got kids, I believe they have, but Jared and Danny. So there's an established family there. They're probably a close family, one imagines, with Danny Dyer, the actor. So it could be a bit of a wrench, and this must happen. We said about Jamie Vardy.
Mm,
He may have had family reasons to want to stay in Leicester, probably not just lacking ambition, but it could have been. I will get the impression Bowen will be sick, to the bottom of his stomach, having gone down from this incredible Premier League where you're on the match of the day and on the box every week and you're high profile. And suddenly you go into that abyss, which can even
mm,
get worse if you don't come straight back. So he's probably in two minds, I will guess. I can only guess, because the idea of, well, I was going to say someone like Man City, but that's another question. But at the moment, in the light of what we were saying earlier, would any top player want to risk going to Man City, who may be possibly relegated? I don't know, but that's another matter. But yeah, to know that Manchester United, Liverpool are showing interest in him, that's got to tickle his ambitions. Think, wow,
mm,
I could get a real uplift in money and in profile with those top teams. So he possibly is in a couple of minds on this, because another part of him says, well, my wife, my kids are all established and with the family. I don't want to uproot them and go and live in Manchester or Liverpool. No disrespect to those places, but it's easy for us to forget that footballers also have their family ties and situations which will affect their decisions. So
mm,
yeah, it's a bit of a disaster all round for Bowen and other West Ham players that they've gone down, as it would be, I guess, for any team.
mm,
But what he does or where he goes, if he goes, is going to be quite an interesting one to watch.
mm. We would be one to. Right, this is all we've got time for on the second segment of the foot.
Just one.
Yes,
Sorry to
yes,
interrupt, Cuz.
yes,
Just
yes.
one. Can we have a corporate good luck Palace tonight in their Conference League
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
final?
definitely.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
Good luck.
Good,
Yeah.
good
absolutely
luck.
cheering them
Good
on.
luck, Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed that they win. It'll be good if we do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really rooting for Palace, most especially because of the injustice
Yeah,
the Europa League
yeah,
place.
that's right.
That was yeah, but yeah, I will be watching it.
Good man,
I will be watching it, and, and I hope
cheering them
Palace
on.
wins. I hope Palace wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is all we've got time for on this second segment of the football referee. You'll have to join us next week again for more analysis on the world of football. So I've been Emmy Hickins, and he calls me Cuz.
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Tony, and they call me the Enforcer.
Yes, he is the enforcer. Yeah. So
See you next time.
join us again next week. So goodbye from me.
Goodbye
Goodbye.
from me.
Right. So let's stop the live stream and everything. Wow, that was a really good one. Well done, boys.
Went
Well
very
done.